Okay.
And we're live.
Yeah. Welcome to Inane Blather. It's episode 63. We are
63.
Natalie and Doug.
Who's Doug?
I don't know, some guy who wants to be in charge of everybody.
Yeah, we got a shout out on some more news. No,
Nice.
and yeah, of course. Oh man, we are two idiots with a soundboard, also known as too large of a soundboard because now I can't even fill it in right. Anyway, it's episode 63. Listen, you goddamn.
Headstrong, stubborn, quibbling, self-centered, vindictive, obnoxious, hormonal, sexually preoccupied, evil, thieving, cross-dressing jerks.
Awesome to the max.
So, anyway.
Do you know who I look like right now? Who do I look
Sherlock
like right now?
Holmes.
I was thinking more like Jay of Jay and Silent Bob. I feel like I look like him right now.
Yeah.
LMFAO.
That's really funny
Or
that you
Sherlock
think that.
Holmes. You're not even looking at me.
I looked at you earlier. Were you changing your face? Gosh, because I just got too many sounds on here. Because because
Dead air.
yeah. Anyway,
You little poopy bitch.
that's what I was looking for for a while. But yeah, it's your favorite podcast brought to you by
Head bonk to individuals.
Let Go
That's us.
because.
Nice.
Sounds like you're pretty into this, buddy.
And anyway, how was your day? Seems like a long day. You made me sit here
It
and
was a
wait,
long
twiddling
day.
my thumbs. No,
I
I'm just
know.
kidding.
We-
I didn't do
yeah.
that. I have things to do.
We work until late now, or until a little later, 8:15, and blah blah blah. I live
maybe for 1/2 hour,
40-minute drive,
2.5 hour.
2.5 hour. Have maybe a light lunch of a bowl of heavy cream and maybe a chocolate cigarette.
Sausages.
No, actually, for lunch today, I went down to the water in the Puget Sound, and it was beautiful. It was a beautiful day. It's cooled off significantly down there. A bunch of seaweed all over the beach, but it was a great day. I mean, yeah.
Better than
It's over now.
we seed all over the beach. That's funny because it was not a beautiful day here at all. I think it literally, the high was like 80 degrees in the forecast. It was crazy because it's been windy, rainy, cloudy just for a couple days while the weather's changing over. I don't think it got above 72. I was at work doing stuff with like my shorts on. I'm like, what the hell's going
Cold.
on here?
Yeah.
And it's going to be back to 100 and, by next week or something like that. But it was quite a change of pace. Something like that.
Head bonk to individuals.
Suck my dick, idiot.
Sorry. Yeah, I just keep using this. You know why?
We do a little trolling. It's called We Do a Little Trolling.
That's why. That's why. Yeah, I've been trying to follow news. I've been really kind of on a kick of just consuming like commentary content, media analysis, which is just a nice way of saying, I want to listen to someone break down a 90s sitcom or a Christopher Nolan movie for 2 hours, something that's really not going to do anything for me. I mean, I enjoy it, or it'll make you think, or this and that. But
Make it think about media portrayals, and what people would have learned from these things. I think that that's like a helpful thing to know,
I
like
guess.
reviews and breakdowns of things that are popular because how they cement themselves in culture.
yeah, if you
that's like the
scream
lens
it
that
into
they're
the
seeing it
mic
through.
like that, maybe I'll listen, I guess. No, I'm just kidding.
Is it loud?
Calm down. No, I'm just kidding. Calm down, Sherlock Holmes, silent J. Bob. But yeah, all I've been hearing in the news is
Trump's a racist, they scream. Stop him.
But no, I had a couple of things. For one, Natalie wrote a folk song, so we're going to be directly competing with that.
I wrote a poem.
That right-wing nut job, so-called centrist, backed by dark money, Oliver Anthony with his boring song. That's the thing. I don't know if you've been engaging in that discourse at all, but of course this guy blew up with his dumb little folk song that starts off
About
like it sounds
welfare queens.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We did talk about it. That's right. Yeah. But you know what I was thinking was like, even putting aside whatever interpretation of these shitty lyrics you have, or whether it's like, well, he was on the right track and then he's blaming the wrong people, just like how right-wing populism goes and blah, 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 or, well, I don't like that, but he's got a good voice, or yada, yada. I don't know if it was organic or if it's backed by all this money. And I was like, can't we just put all that aside and say what this song really is?
Boring.
It is, all right? That's what it. I'm like, if something like that gets that popular immediately, it's not organic. I'm sorry, but I could enlist 3 to 5 friends and or acquaintances to just come up with and perform a song just as good or better in one day. You know, and I don't know anybody.
For one day.
Yes, exactly. For one day.
Trump's a racist.
But I don't know. It's just I'm mostly joking just because it's just not my style of music anyway. But it's like, even the content of the lyrics aside, and for anyone who doesn't know about this chart-topping hit somehow of this guy, Oliver Anthony, just pulling a $3,000 condenser microphone out into his back 40 in West Virginia. Supposedly he used to be a coal miner, and now he just is singing songs for the working man out on his 90 acres. Blah, 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 blah. I forgot where I was even going with that. But it's like, if you haven't heard of it, I'm sure you will, or it's easy to look up. Matt Walsh was just pushing him hard. That's the first, actually not the first that I heard of it. A close friend and or family or whatever you want to say had it, of course, in their Instagram reel, and I was like, what the fuck? I just immediately scrolled past it because I was like, it's just boring. I was like, I don't care about the music that you post. I was just going through Instagram things, and then I saw the guy again. I saw it just auto playing with no audio on Twitter. I was like, oh my god. Now Matt Walsh is sharing this guy. That's when I listened to it. But it's like, besides the actual content of these lyrics or the message that this guy is trying to put across by complaining about government overreach, taxation, and exploitation of the capitalist owner class, and then blaming it on welfare recipients or saying fat people shouldn't have welfare, whatever he's trying to get across here. No matter what, the lyrics just suck. Like, the rhymes. He rhymes like you with you twice. Like your bag of fudge rounds doesn't have a poetic quality to it. It makes it seem like you're making a joke, like you're making a parody song. So then it's like, it just immediately doesn't sit right. Just hearing it, it's like, oh, so are you joking? I mean, it's the first time a song has hit the Billboard Hot 100 that has referenced Jeffrey Epstein's island, and you didn't write that lyric very well, because if you actually read the lyric, it seems like you're defending Jeffrey Epstein.
He also, it's like,
what a
you're
mess.
talking about Jeffrey Epstein, and you're talking about that in the same kind of way that the problem, so like, predators, like systemic predatory rape of young girls by rich men is the same as what he would say fat people eating ding-dongs, on welfare. Like,
no,
what are you
is coal miners
about?
losing their jobs? Yeah.
No, and it's just interesting that why that would even be brought up, like just some cruel, mean joke at someone's expense that's written that way, not poetically, but as like a, like like a joke, like a mean thing to say about someone, like to put them down, and not like a criticism of a system or anything. It's just like cruelty towards people who
it's exactly
or whatever you want to say.
What the elite class that he's complaining about want. It's what they've always wanted. It's what's been going on for a long time. Whether, it's not some secret cabal of capitalists getting together and saying, well, the best thing is to have the poor fight amongst themselves. It's like, no, it's just built into capitalist expansion and the warring class divisions is that it perpetuates the system more easily when the worker class just go around blaming other people in the working class instead of doing anything about their own exploitation. It's been happening over and over again. So it's just that classic, like, well, dang, like you're mad at something and then placing the blame in the wrong, pointing the blame in the wrong direction. It's just been happening over and over again. Just like blaming immigrants, blaming welfare queens, so-called, blaming whoever,
if they can,
blaming
so be
the
called.
socialists on college campuses, whatever the fuck it is. It's like, no, like you're complaining about bad wages and shitty working conditions. Blame your fucking boss. Like, what? It should be simple. But we're all temporarily embarrassed capitalists, Wake
up, sheeple,
It's like, and he isn't even a temporarily embarrassed capitalist. I think it's a very shitty cover-up of the fact that this guy is doing all right. He owns land and is putting out music and has a guy, whoever that backer that's been uncovered so quickly and easily, that put effort and Republican dark money behind his charting success so quickly, despite the fact that you go to the guy's YouTube channel and he's got a playlist full of anti-Semitic 9/11 conspiracies. It's like it's just a
wow.
I mean, whatever.
They really
he's
know
a
how to pick
redneck
'em.
conservative that has been propagandized to, just like so many other people, and then is being taken advantage of, and then they use his beautiful voice, his great singing, his beautiful sounding voice. I don't think he's even that great of a singer. Coming from a bad singer like myself, pretty flat for a chart-topping hit, that's all I'm going to say. But anyway, I don't want to go over that too much. I brought it up because you wrote a folk song, and we're going to take submissions for melodies and all that. And you get a chance to produce a song
Be on this
with
show.
us. No,
Yeah, wow. Who wouldn't?
yeah. So
Any takers? Dead air. Yeah.
crickets. This is my submission. That's just me running out of the room really quickly, knocking everything down on my way out. But
We do a little trolling. It's called We Do a Little Trolling.
We do like to.
oh, I wanted to hear
Yeah,
that
if we
song.
have someone-
No, I want to hear that song.
So forget about it, cuz.
Okay, I thought you would like that one. So
Yes. That's the best.
sorry, I'm talking over you, but I wanted to. I'm trying to remember more jokes. Right? I was complaining
I never
about this
can
the
pull
other
a
day.
joke off the top of my
I can
head.
never remember any. I start off almost every day. My Google Assistant tells me a joke. I don't remember it unless I've heard the joke before. They're all like popsicle stick jokes, but what's
Jokes about popsicle sticks.
yeah, they're all. It's like that Seth Meyers bit where it's all done by popsicle sticks. I forgot about that. So a cop pulls over a car with two priests inside driving at night. Pulls them over, and he says, "Hey guys, we're looking for two pedophiles." And the priests kind of look at each other, go back and forth, wait a second, and then they say, "All right, we'll do it."
Oh my god. That's That's really funny.
That's the only one I could remember. Like, I just read it the other day. Okay, we'll do it.
Yikes.
So, boy. Okay. Oh, or here's my comedic poetry segment. Just a little fragment, not a segment, but like a segment of a thought. I don't know, a fragment.
Or a segment.
Quote,
yeah.
I don't want someone who needs a safe space, he wrote in the About Me section on the conservatives only dating site.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's really good.
Okay.
That's a good one. You know what? I said the other day that I felt like it was the most, it was like a really simple way to be like why I'm an anti-capitalist is because the more money you have, the easier it is to not care. And I'm like, right there, I'm like, that is a bad thing. Like, to not care.
Explain further.
I think did I tell you about this woman who followed around one of my partners? I guess I haven't. Yeah, on shift. She's the one that she's from. She's Palestinian. She's a refugee, and oh my god, she's amazing, and she's incredibly beautiful. She has
If she's
long,
listening
dark,
right now,
curly
I think she's
hair,
really
and
beautiful.
oh my gosh, she is, and she's amazing too. She's so just like, she's amazing.
Okay.
Anyways, she was walking around this neighborhood. It's kind of a nice neighborhood down by the water, and a woman followed her around for like 3 houses and caught up to her and was like, what are you doing here? And she's like, we wear like these yellow vests and like a badge. We like, we're like
Being
canvassing,
safe.
fundraising, and activists, just out and like people do. And she has an
Instead
accent.
of active
my
wear,
coworker,
you have activist wear or something like that.
yeah. So my coworker, she has a pretty thick accent, and so
'Cause
the
she's
woman
Palestinian,
that stopped her,
which is weird that she has that thick Chinese accent.
Yeah, I'm like,
she
I'm like, that's kind
confuses
of like-
people.
yeah. And the woman was like, where are you from? And then she's like, well, I'm from, and she said she was from Egypt. And then she's like, well, how long have you lived here? And then like just kept like questioning her, and then was like got into this thing about like, oh, you're just using, she's like, I'm out here, talking about gun violence and how it, leading cause of death for children. And she's like, oh, well, you organizations, that's not even true. You're just using this as a way to make money. It's only 10% of childhood deaths and blah, 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 blah. So all of the disgusting racism and all that, like bitch, like get the fuck out of here. Like seriously, you're following this girl around. She's like a 23-year-old, just like girl out
So
here.
it's some lady
trying
from
to,
the
like,
neighborhood. Because you were
Yes,
talking
it
about,
is.
like,
And
my
she's just
first
like,
thought
oh,
was a
sorry.
deranged, like, person
no.
or a unhoused person in need of help was following her around. No, it was a psycho,
this is in a really nice
like,
neighborhood.
NIMBY
This is a super
type
nice neighborhood.
wasp
Yes,
bitch.
not NIMBY type. I would guess MAGA, because then she starts talking about like,
Yeah,
she's
I
like,
mean-
oh, only 10% of childhood deaths. That's not even true. Blah blah blah. And it's like, so you can sleep on 10% of childhood deaths being gunshot related? What's wrong with you? Like, you just have no empathy left. That doesn't like Dave Chappelle and like, I can't sleep on that,
Yeah.
Like it seriously, like, you're out here arguing with this person who's saying they're trying to fight gun violence, and you're out here saying that what they do doesn't matter, just like putting them down and diminishing childhood deaths. That's what you're out here spending this hot fucking day doing. You have nothing better to do with your life, as you have this multi-million-dollar home in Seattle on the water with a view, than to follow around this Palestinian refugee and tell her that she's stupid for doing what she's doing and make her think that she's not to be trusted in this neighborhood and all this kind of stuff. Bitch, fuck you. Like, you have money, and that's the reason you're like this, genuinely.
Yeah.
Like, you're not affected. You're so far from these things. It's like you're literally arguing about childhood deaths.
Well, there's the thing, like, so here's the thing, though. It's about what made her follow her around, do all that in the first place. That's the interesting thing. That's and interrogate her, like, where it's like, First
Where
off,
are you from?
who are you? Who do you think you are?
Yeah.
What are you, a cop? Fuck out of here, but
And even if you are,
no, I'm just saying, it's like, what
Yeah.
what are you, a detective? What do you do? Who are you? Like, why are you asking me? Why do I have to say anything to you? The only reason I'm talking to you is because it's my job to talk to people like your dumbass. But
Yeah.
on top
would've
of
knocked
that,
on your door.
where it's like, if it had been just me, oh, we're selling shitty coffee to raise money for veterans and police officers, her tone would have completely changed. Even if it was someone doing
Yeah.
the exact same fucking thing, walking around the same neighborhood, the same outfit, if it had been a different political thing, it'd be like, oh
Yeah.
my gosh, that's so cool. Let me post about it on fucking Facebook.
Yeah.
You know that's true. But
Totally.
it's like, oh, she just had her suspicions confirmed that it's communists out here to take away our guns, or some NGO.
This
They're probably
terrorist
involved with
out here.
the WEF, and George Soros is paying them to be out here, or whatever idiotic thing might be.
She might want to think that one through with this Palestinian
But it's
refugee being paid by.
And the thing is,
if her thing is,
well, and the thing is, if that had been the case, and it had been something that she agreed with and turned around, wow, that's great. Hashtag MAGA, people out here doing the right thing. She still would never. I mean, this is just a straw man. I don't know this woman, but you already know.
For sure.
She wouldn't go
She's a
back
bitch.
and think later on, like, man, but why did I accost that person in the first place? It would never cross her mind, because the type of person who would do that doesn't have that sort of self-reflection. That's the whole problem. It's like,
and like,
you're not aware.
It's really-
it's just, no, I'm not going to say.
it's really like, bitch, you live in a major city in the United States. I constantly pass homes that have no soliciting signs because this is a very common practice. People walk door to door. This is a city. That's what happens. So, like, what do you think that she's doing? She's literally going from house to house, knocking on the door, either talking to them if they come to the door or leaving if they don't. You've been watching her.
Yeah.
Like, what do you think is going on? Like, are you stupid? Is what it seems like to me. But no, it's because she's racist,
Yeah, 'cause
obviously.
she doesn't
Because
actually
this person
want to
is
know.
obviously brown.
Yeah.
Like, she's like very,
She's jelly.
not white.
She's jelly.
Oh yeah, I big, dark, beautiful eyebrows. Oh, her eyes, big brown eyes. She seriously looks like, I tell her, like Princess Jasmine. Like, she's so like, but darker. She's so beautiful. Oh my god.
No.
I know. I told her that before when she was being a brat. I was like, okay, Princess Jasmine. I was like,
She's
But,
like, what are you doing out here? And she's like,
We do a little trolling. It's called we do a little trolling.
that's what we
She
do.
does.
She's like, oh my God, President Trump, my president.
yeah. She does do trolling though, but yeah, it just was it made me so mad thinking about no one's ever gonna be like extra suspicious of me. They would be, I'm just like a person
Maybe with
walking
that
around.
hat
I'm like
on.
hanging around. I wear a vest though. I have an Amnesty t-shirt.
We'll just keep
I'm
bringing
like a tall
it up
white girl.
because
Yeah.
because
I
we
like
don't
this
have
hat.
video yet. So
Wear this hat a lot.
yeah, it's just so
But,
everyone knows, Ned is wearing a giant red, white, and blue sombrero.
This is my favorite hat. I don't know why people don't respond well to it.
A giant
gives them
red, white, and
preconceived
blue
notions.
sombrero that just says in capital letters "fuck you" across the front, and she walks around neighborhoods
I'm like,
with it.
hi, I'm Natalie. Yeah.
I'm here to talk
Don't
about
talk to
women's
me.
reproductive rights.
Yeah, it just I was just thinking about how it made this woman who's rich, she just doesn't
Who has
like,
time for
literally-
this?
who has time to literally argue with someone where it's like, wow, someone's out here talking about, okay, bitch, you live in America. It's all over the news. You're talking about only 10% of deaths. I'm like, we're talking about elementary school shootings.
Imagine if,
like, what's
all right,
wrong
lady,
with you?
if it's up to you, and you can snap your fingers and put a stop to 10% of child deaths in America, are you going to do it or not? Are Do you want to stop children dying or not? Because only 10%, only 1%, only 50%. What does it really matter? Do you want to stop
Isn't the goal sort of
premature
like
deaths
0?
or not?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, but only 10% of children die of AIDS nowadays with this current,
do you know how many
ravaging
fucking
crisis.
thousands of children there are? That is, I mean, 10% of like across a nation of hundreds of millions of people. It's
Yeah.
like, you're talking like even one child. It's like you can think about a child dying and not be moved. Like, especially. It's like we're talking about.
Yeah,
them
so we're talking
being
about like
shot.
what?
They're
Like
being
15
killed by
million
guns.
people?
I mean,
it's
just,
like and then so we
no.
take 10% of that.
No, and if, whatever it is. But even it's like I feel like the amount of childhood deaths caused by guns should be in the single
How about you
digits.
tell us these statistics, little miss?
Yeah.
Little miss. No, I mean you right now. Like what are the numbers
Yeah.
on that? Because that's horrible.
Well, I know it's the number one cause of death for people under the age of 19 in America. And accidental discharge of firearms is a big problem. But self-harm is a
6,000
huge...
children last year.
6,000 children.
Yeah.
That's the entire population of the town we grew up
Yeah.
in. If every single one of them was a child that was shot with a gun.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying when I'm talking about, it's like,
It's
of
more
course,
than the
kids die of
population of the town I
diseases.
live in now. That's all I'll
Yeah,
say.
it's like kids die of diseases and cancer. There's car accidents. There's these horrible things that happen. But this is gun violence. This is something we could really. It's like cars. That's transportation. That's such a part of life. You know, obviously it's horrible that those things happen. But we have seatbelts. We have like safety stuff. We like really try to make it safer so we can decline those numbers. And it's like these are like imagine it. I want to tell these people. Okay, 10% of children. Think of that 15-year-old boy, Ethan, who this law is named after, Ethan's Law, that's trying to get passed. So you have to, you know, he picked up a gun, was playing with it, and was shot and killed. He's 15 years old. How does that make you feel? Like, how does it make you feel to see that video of a toddler walking around an apartment complex with a gun in their hand? Imagine, you know, kids accidentally kill their siblings.
Yeah.
That's something that happens. There's
that kid
you can
that
sleep on that?
killed
like,
their teacher.
genuinely, what's wrong with you? Yeah.
And it's like,
I mean,
and that's just the teachers. So who cares? You know, they say
Yeah,
that's
well,
only
sure, they're
1% of teacher deaths. You know, but yeah, it's like well, there's the whole issue, right? In your line of work, in getting people to actually care about the issues in the same way that quote unquote we do, or anyone left of center or something like that, is almost always a constant battle of trying to get someone to empathize, just in general. So it's like that can be your most powerful tool, is successfully getting someone to do what you just said, to imagine this happening, like pointing out their kid and being like, imagine if it was your kid that died, you know? And it's like, and
please,
some
take a
people
moment.
literally can't or don't, or just don't. Like, they're too busy, they're too brainwashed, they're too cruel, they just don't empathize. And I mean, that's the like psychological, that's the psychological political spectrum, right? Left to right is empathy to lack thereof. And I mean, even Ben Shapiro has made it a point of it multiple times, that empathy is literally not good, is not good in political conversations. And it's like, yeah, because that goes against your policies and views and values. Like, you don't arrive at a conservative viewpoint by having empathy. You just don't.
Aren't they supposed to be Christian? Isn't that like sort of the foundation of Jesus's whole thing? Is like, and like do unto others as you would have them do unto you. That's like kind of what he's driving at. So not that you can.
Ben Shapiro's,
obviously, what am I trying to apply logic to? But conservative ideology is very much based in like Christian, you know, Western values.
Mental illness is when you're right wing.
That's
yes,
it.
that too. Christianity means white supremacy and all those kinds of things. But it just,
Well,
it's.
So forget about it.
No, you know what?
so that's it.
People, people are not cruel or whatever. I think a lot of it. Well, they can be, obviously, but I think a lot of it is people just don't want to face like the bigness of it all and how much just really diving into like your empathy and compassion, it hurts. It hurts
Sure.
to be walking in the store and being like, oh my God, look at all this food and there's people outside. Literally, this guy I met the other day, this unhoused guy, Nick, and then there was a guy, Kyle, the other day, and all these, like there's people like, oh my God, like all the time it's on your mind. But I feel like, isn't that so much better than being to the point of trying to avoid this kind of stuff and having to stay so angry that you're chasing down a human rights activist in your neighborhood and questioning them about like, because that's what happens. I feel like you have to like misdirect all this anger and all this kind of stuff because it is there because you do know. And you know what I think? Diving in this way, it gives me so much comfort to know that these are systemic issues, that it's not individuals being pieces of shit. It's these horrible systems that have been ingrained because of people in power, because of different reasons for a lot of years, because things go quickly and we're like, blah, just barely trying to keep up. But we're trying to dismantle these systems that give people the bad options, the options to make them cruel, heartless people. It's not individuals, just people are not shit. These systems are flawed.
People ain't shit.
And that gives me...
That's your message. You're like, either way, I don't care about people. I care about systems. People don't mean anything to me.
Yeah.
Well, and that's, for you to be in the mindset of following someone around just so you can interrogate and then argue with them and make them feel unwelcome and do all that. It's like, so, I mean, there you go. You look at the spectrum and it's like, with whom are you empathizing right now? Is there any empathy in any, at any point on this mental path that you've taken to arrive at this point right here? Who have you thought about? What have you been thinking about? What has been crossing your mind other than yourself? Like your own just insecurity or fear, whether of brown people or of communists or of anyone being in your neighborhood or whatever it might be. It's all just self-centeredness and a lack of empathy. Like even in these bigger abstract ways, but just breaking down like, all right, even just looking at today, lady, what got you to this point? What have you been doing? What have you been thinking about? Who have you been thinking about? Have you thought about anyone other than yourself this entire day? Like, about anyone's feelings.
In a positive light.
Anyone's feelings at all, other than your own. Like, and it's just weird to think about it that way because,
and
like you're
why?
saying, it's a mental
because
burden.
She has money.
And it's an emotional burden
Yes.
to have empathy if you truly feel like, there's no solutions or you're part of the problem or you can't solve things or whatever it might be. It takes work to learn how to deal with emotional burdens like that and, existential issues and your place in the world when you actually make room in your head and in your heart for other people's lives and feelings and stuff like that. And it's like,
that's why they
and you
say,
know what? That's life. That's what being a good person is, all right? Sorry.
Take space, save space. Like, that's what people say, like, on the left. It's like this, like...
What?
Sensitive, PC, take space and save space.
I've never
like,
heard
you
that.
have to, like, you can have space, like, for your own lived experience and stuff. You have to save space for other people and their perspectives and
Okay.
stuff, too. It's not just all about you.
And then safe space on the
save a safe
conservatives
space.
only dating website.
Yes.
Bringing it back around. All right.
It just shows how, with all these comforts, it just makes it so you just don't have to care at all. So you just don't. Like, with capitalism, being comfortable is like, if you don't have to, if you can be removed from it, it's a lot easier, I would in a way, if you want that kind of life, to just ignore it. Obviously, if you can just like have a really nice life and a nice car and a great home with a great view and just have all the money and not have the pressures of like that kind of thing. Like,
Yeah, not having those stresses
wanna,
is one thing, but it's like how hollow that must be. It's like that's why people with money.
I mean, obviously, ever
fucking
heard of
blow
the
their
Scrooge?
brains out? You know, it's like
Yeah.
well, they had everything. It's like that's probably why.
Oh, I just heard a line in a country song or a bluegrass song or whatever.
Oh, was it by
one of my friends
Oliver
told me.
Anthony? Anthony Oliver.
No.
What was it?
It's
Oliver
like
Anthony.
I don't know.
I'm gonna take Oliver Anthony and throw it out.
Oliver, I hardly know her. Whatever. It said, "I know some folks so poor, all they have is their money," and it was like, that's a good line because
sounds like coke
and again,
to me.
No. But it sounds like it's the Christmas Carol. A Christmas Carol was written however long ago by Charles Dickens, and it is exactly
cares.
He's a little known author.
Yeah,
he's getting noticed more. And more nowadays.
I was thinking of Darl's Chickens.
Like Frederick Douglass.
Darl's Chickens is my favorite author.
It just shows like it's so incredibly clear who the bad guy is and why he's the bad guy. He's miserly and greedy and totally 100% after profit. And he is the bad guy. No one is going to think that he's the good guy ever. He's like, you can just clearly see that he learned all the wrong lessons in his life because he was after like material wealth and these kinds of things and not putting relationships first and like the things that actually make your life worthwhile.
And he was miserable.
And I just
miserly, miserable.
Yeah, he was
old miser.
He was all alone. Everyone hated him, and people were glad when he was dead. And that's a pretty
he gets to see his funeral where everyone's happy and talking shit.
Everyone's like, oh, I took this stuff out of his house and fuck that guy and all this kind of stuff. And it's interesting just how over and over and over people don't learn that lesson. Like it's amazing to me that people can't like.
Let's do some bad media analysis. What I was thinking, look at modern stories, and the also popular trope now of anti-hero stories where it's like, oh, there's kind of this gray area, but you look at really big ones, and where they are an anti-hero because they're let's look at Walter White, Tony Soprano.
He's a
things
bad
like this.
guy.
No. Here's the thing: is that you have that anti-hero feeling at the beginning because they're making this money for quote unquote their family. Like it starts off, Walter White is an anti-hero, and once you realize, and once you the line is crossed, and you're like, wait a minute, no, he's a villain. You realize that because he's not doing it for someone else. Where it's like at the beginning, an anti-hero, is they're committing crimes, they're killing people, or whatever they're doing, whatever the story is, but you're stealing bread to feed your family, whatever it might be. Where it's like, oh, that's where we have gray areas. It's because there's just at least one other person. It's usually everything I did for this family. Walter White will say that, and you just don't believe him because by the end he's not. Yeah. It's for his own vanity and all these different things. He's a sociopath, or like Tony Soprano. It's even more muddled, but you still know, and that's a show that's about him trying to gain introspection the entire time. He's seeing a fucking psychiatrist, and it's like there's times where it feels like it rings true that he was doing it because he wants his family to have whatever they want, or he wants his family, his crime family to be safe and secure and wealthy. And then there's times where it's like, no, you're just making excuses. What you did in blank situation was all for yourself. That's all it is. Like that's what makes either someone a hero, an anti-hero, or a villain. It just depends on not the reasons you're doing it, but who you're doing it for. Is it for yourself, or is it for literally anyone else? You know?
That's a good point. I mean, you can do for yourself, like obviously you have to take care of yourself and everything. But then once it becomes just about like
snowflake
proving a point to yourself or like your ego and whatever. I was just thinking about what I think of as like the original sort of anti-hero beginnings was that book Wicked, where it was a rewriting. It's about the Wicked Witch of the West from The Wizard of Oz. And that came out like maybe when I was in high school or something. And it does a really good job, like a genuine anti-hero story, because she's the villain, obviously, in Wizard of Oz, but it goes through her life and like shows she's really misunderstood. And it's a really great book. It talks about a lot about like
really popular.
Rising up against like
it's a Broadway show, right?
This kind of like not a dictatorship, but against the government. There's like some domestic terrorism and stuff in that. It's a cool book. And then her motivation, like for fucking Dorothy and all that, she doesn't want to kill them or whatever, but they killed her sister too. It wasn't just about like her wanting. I mean, it wasn't just about petty revenge either. That's a really good anti-hero story. I think that they
Batman. There's another one that I was just gonna throw out there. You know?
Yeah.
And where he goes back and forth across the line. Are you really doing this for the people of Gotham, or are you doing it for your own vengeful reasons? If you're doing it for vengeance, then you're an anti-hero because you're still helping someone else, but you're doing it for yourself. You know, you're not a hero. You're not a villain because you're still, killing the bad guys, whatever it might be. But or I don't think Batman kills too many people, but but either way, it was just coming to mind. Shoot, there was something besides
and what you do with
Batman.
your power, I feel like, especially like that's where it starts. What turns you into a villain for sure is like taking advantage of people, like Walter White. So
that's why.
You're abusing your position that you've gotten to by being this hero. I mean, like that you could be this person that...
then you're using the power that you've gained from doing that to then
from being a good person
do it for yourself.
Or not being a good person,
villain.
but to do it for a specific reason, at least, that can
Some sort
seem
of
admirable, at least,
cause.
At least Walter White, I'm on board with one of my partners. We both said it at the same time. He could have just let his friend pay for if one of my friends offered to pay for my cancer treatment, I would have said, thank you so much. I don't even know where to begin. Like, I can't even, I would do the same for you if I could, obviously. Like, thank you so much, just profoundly from the bottom of my heart. And if I had the means to do that for one of my friends who's going to die of cancer, I'd be like, I will do anything to save you.
That's
oh my
what
God,
I was going to say.
Let me pay for this treatment.
A while back. It's like, okay, that's another kind of marker of where someone is on this spectrum is like, okay, I mean, throw out like, let's just all do it within the confines of we're all working and living under capitalism, whatever. You can be a so-called socialist and still want to make money because you have to have it to live, right? But it's like, it's like, I mean, some people will argue, against that. But it's like, because there is a difference between when it's like the fantasy in my head of having money is like, man, I could just get the people that I love whatever they need. Like, that's the first thing that comes to mind. And that's how it is.
You're the first person that comes to mind.
That like, for anyone, like, that feels the same way. That's what you want. Is like, man, what a good feeling it would be to just, like, fill up
if I
your...
won the lottery and could pay off all my parents'
or even just having
debt or whatever.
Any decent amount of money. Like, is to be like, just filling up your friend's tank full of gas, or being like, you know what, if you had an exorbitant amount of money, be like, yes, I'm going to help you get this house, or I'm going to help you with this job. I'm going to help you with this because I can. And there's legitimately other people where, for whatever reasons there may be, their first thought is, oh man, I could have so much stuff. It's like, no, if I had all this money, I could give so much stuff, and it's like, there's a big difference. I mean, you could have two people that end up making the same amount of money and automatically looking at it as an anti-capitalist. You're already an anti-hero from making a bunch of money, right? So it's like, but if you're not even a noble cause, but it's your empathy is part of the output of what you're doing with this money, be like, yeah, because then I could have this extra time to work, start a nonprofit, or I could literally just make sure that my entire family has some bills paid for so that someone can go back to school or whatever. It's like, it's just, it could be the exact same amount of money as someone who's like, yes, I could finally buy this house and then buy myself a cool car and then quit my job so that I could work on fucking cars or whatever, or just sit and fish. It's like, that's all well and good. You're not hurting anybody, I guess. But it's like,
not helping much.
Exactly. There's anyway, we've been going on too long with this because I wanted to bring something else up.
That's why I'll always be a brokey, because I'm a polyamorous communist and I love to share.
And you hate
that's
money.
all I ever want to do. It's I hate money. I love to share anything that I have. I'm like, what's mine is yours for sure. I'm like, especially money. I'm like, I don't fucking care.
I
about
just
that.
extend that to everyone else, and that's why I constantly shoplift. Just constantly.
From Walmart.
No.
Yeah.
Now I finally understand that people do it for a rush. No, I'm just kidding. I don't do that. Quick change here.
Wingus, dingus, listen up.
I wanted to open up the New York Post, right? And see if there was any good opinion pieces or something. But something caught my eye. I don't know if this is just going to be on the New York Post or if this will be a bigger story for a day, so who knows if they'll date it. But listen to this, Natalie. Headline, New York Post, Florida brawl erupts at chicken wing restaurant after women intentionally clogged toilet.
Oh my God, what a headline.
5 women
disappoint.
intentionally clogged a toilet inside a Florida chicken wing restaurant over the weekend, igniting a brawl between the group and employees, police said. The incident began around 9 p.m. Saturday at Papa B's in Longwood, a suburb of Orlando. A supervisor told authorities the women stuffed a restroom toilet with wads of toilet paper. The women were blamed because they were the only customers inside the restaurant. An employee cleaned the bathroom. However, one of the women went inside the bathroom afterwards, and the toilet was stuffed with toilet paper again, according to an arrest report obtained by Fox 35.
People have to flush their toilet 15 times.
The restaurant supervisor then told the women they needed to leave since it was almost closing time. The supervisor then found out the toilet was clogged again, and the group of women became irate and began yelling. When they were told to leave, one of the women punched the supervisor in the face, and the other women joined, kicking, punching, pulling hair, and throwing things, authorities said. The supervisor sustained a cut behind her ear and bruises on her leg and arm. There's just so much to this where I'm like, there's so much more to this story that they're not going to say in the New York Post. And now that I've scrolled down, and I've seen the women, I don't want to read any of these 766 comments that are left on here.
Do not. If they're women of color, if they don't look stereotypically...
Well, it's Kanisha Charles, Taisha Charles, Kayanda Charles, Jasmine Klein, and Jalea Smith. So... you can stereotype on your own time. When another employee rushed to aid the supervisor, one of the women allegedly slapped her and began to throw chairs. Because it's on its own, and it's fine.
I would love
I'll
to see
just
the footage
take my
of this.
crying libtard leftist take and just be like, nah, there's a reason. you want to do this because you want to blame some black women, but obviously some shit is going on because people just
no shit is
don't
going down
do
though
that.
because they can't flush their toilets.
People have to flush their toilet 15 times.
Yeah.
These people are sick.
That's what it was.
Yeah,
He
with all
kept
that toilet
running to the
paper.
toilet.
Yeah.
They're like, your goddamn chicken wings.
They're like, no wonder we're the only 2 people in here, or 3 people, whatever,
four or
in the
five.
restaurant.
It's 5 people.
Yeah.
But
well, we're the only people in here for a reason.
yeah, because everyone else has been shitting their brains out
people have to flush
because
their
you're
toilet,
undercooking your chicken, and we're sending a fucking message. And when you're
they're just like, maybe they
they
knew
thought
someone
it
that
was
worked there,
toilet
maybe it was
paper,
like a
but they
whole
were
thing,
actually
but-
shoving chicken wings down the toilet. But as the women fled, they allegedly knocked over chairs and threw salt and pepper shakers and were detained by responding police officers. So, ooh, yep, I've already... Okay. No, I'm not going to read that one either. I was like, I thought it'd be some funny right-wing reactionary thing, and then it immediately gets too far.
Pretty racist.
Let's see. Oop, yep, that's bad. That one's bad.
Do they have any moderators for their comments section? Is there like something you have to like agree to, like in terms of service?
Oh my god, that's horrible.
What is it?
No, I don't
Bleep
even...
it out. It's
no,
written.
someone just said, I don't get it. All I see is pictures of the toilet clogs. Because there's pictures of the women. And someone says,
Doug.
criminally
Can't believe you said that.
underrated comment. Oh my gosh. Hilarious.
You just won the internet.
Oh, you, sir. Oh my God.
Yikes.
Oh, these are bad. I thought that there would be at least some funny, dumb reactionary things about like wokeism made them do this or something, but no, it's all just straight up racism. And I would guess
I have
that
no doubt.
the other 550 comments are also racist, and then there's 100 comments that are just spam or something. Oh boy. Okay.
On that note, yeah.
I don't even know. I don't know why these people just don't go out and just...
The N-word!
Oh, I get it too early.
They do.
Yeah, exactly.
Stop.
But, yeah, I thought that it was a great headline. I really want to know what happened because there's no way that 5 people of any variety in any situation and anything like that are going to be doing this for no reason.
Unprompted.
Like, exactly. Be like, what one person's going to come back and they're the prankster of the group and they're like, I just clogged their toilet on purpose. Fuck these people. And then so after they do it, someone else is like, I'm going to do it too. And then they all start throwing chairs. Like, if that was how it was, like, more power to him too, honestly, because that's hilarious.
The footage of it.
Yeah, I
want to see some security footage.
I don't think there is any. So yeah, no. Then that would I would have seen it on Twitter before I saw it on the New York Post. But well, it's already going a little late. You said something. Oh, and we'll go over more of it too, on this, in due time. But more Trump shit's going on, and then he backed out of the debate like a little bitch. I mean,
of course,
that debate's gonna suck. I just hope that Vivek Ramaswamy starts freestyling at the debate because he's not good at it. It's one thing to lose yourself and just be cringe. Another to kind of quote unquote freestyle when you can tell it was actually written ahead of time at the end of there was a Fox News segment that he was on, and then he did some little rap thing at the end, and just, it's like Oliver Anthony or whatever his name is. He rhymed trail with trail, and we're on the trail, and then I'll see you on the trail. Like, you didn't even try, bro. Like, God, conservatives are the worst. But anyway, I'd like to see Chris Christie totally just eviscerate these people, but I probably won't watch any of it because the GOP primaries are crazy, crazy boring. But, we'll talk about
Trump.
more GOP stuff coming up soon, I think. Because that's all fun. That's good and fun, you know?
Fun stuff. Good times.
Like,
great oldies.
This anti-democratic
It's bombastic.
shit that is going on for Trump and these indictments. Oh, and probably just after this episode comes out, he'll be arrested this week. So we'll see how that goes in Georgia. He's going to get a mugshot.
I did see that.
So
yeah.
kind of excited about that.
Yeah.
But it's just a
it'll be nice to
little.
have that. Maybe
It's
I can
just
get
a
it
little
framed.
thing. It's just a little thing. Nothing's gonna happen to the guy, but
That's what Stormy Daniels said. Hey-o. Nice.
He's already dead.
yeah, if only. Anyway, do one positive note. What's Amnesty working on? What's one good
Amnesty
goddamn
working
thing that organization has done lately?
Let's see. What's a win off the top of my head? I know I was just looking up some of the campaigns actually that they have going on right now. Just a lot of stuff. They have a lot of stuff, man. They do.
Like
they do a lot of work with the anti-death penalty stuff and like staying executions and keeping them from happening.
Cool.
They do. I think they helped to stop one in Texas. There was also let's stay on the positive. Stay one push it back in Texas. And they do. I think I mentioned this. Since 1980, they started a campaign to end the death penalty all over the world. And I think at the time it was like 9 countries had disbanded it, and now it's like 140. Woo! So,
all right.
Yeah, hell yeah,
there we go.
That's amazing.
So
exactly,
you're saying
working hard
you're
here in the United States
against the death penalty?
What the heck? Yeah. What the heck's going on over there? Yeah, because they. It's firm belief that people have the right to life.
Yeah,
and
people have the right to not be executed by the government.
Pretty basic.
Okay, makes sense.
Yeah, pretty radical.
Hang loose, radical tubular bros. And shout out to Discontent Provider. I forgot to shout them out lately, but good old podcast. Yeah. Shout out to RM Brown.
Our Lord and Savior.
That went slightly better than the worst it could have possibly gone.
You little poopy bitch.
Slightly.
But, Okay. Well, I'm going to pare down this soundboard a little bit before the next time because I've been complaining about it a lot, but it's really, really fucking up my game here. But
that was a really nice one. Thanks, Inane Blather.
You're welcome. Shout out Arm Brown.
Anytime.
Every one of our lovely listeners, all
love you so much. I love all of you.
Okay, and someone let us know if they could help us out with doing video on this. Okay? All right.
Please. Okay, love you. Bye.